New Lakshmi Jewelers, a source of elegance and beauty, sponsors New Horizon.
Bravest of the brave, most generous of the generous, never had a country more faithful friend than you. Sir Ralph Turner MC. यो भनाइमा नै कति पावर छ। यो हो गोर्खालीहरूको लागि भनिएको कोटेसन। आजको यो कार्यक्रममा हामी गोर्खाली यानी कि नेपालबाट ब्रिटिश आर्मी इन्डियन आर्मीमा जोइन भएका वीर जवानहरूको गाथा अनि त्यसका सुख दुःखका कुराहरू हामी आज गर्नेछौँ। कोसँग त भन्दा आजको मेरो गेस्ट रिटायर्ड मेजर जोन गोर्डन करिगन साहब अनि उहाँ मेम्बर अफ ब्रिटिश एम्पायर MBE अनि FRAS फेलो अफ द रोयल एसियाटिक Society of the Great Britain and Ireland. उहाँ आज हाम्रो स्टुडियोमा हुनुहुन्छ। Sahib Huzur, welcome to the program and it's really nice to have you. You've traveled almost around 160 kilometers.
Well, it's not really very far. It's 99 miles to be exact. So if there's no accident or no traffic, it's not a problem. And I am delighted to be here.
To start the program, I'd like to ask you, you belong to a Gurkha Pulton. You served around 30 years in Brigade of Gurkhas. You wrote so many books about First World War, Second World War, and mainly being the Far East War. And I found out you were the first historian who actually mentioned quite a lot with the evidence about Gurkha's involvement, Gurkha's contribution to First World War and Second World War. Tell us a little bit about why so.
Well, when I left the army, Anton Abisal pension gएको अनि के गर्ने किनभने यङ मान्छे हो नि मेरो उमेर 55 मात्रै थियो के गर्ने काम छैन भने वाक्टिक लाग्छ नि त्यसकारण म काम गर्नै पर्छ सो केको विषयमा मलाई थाहा छ इतिहासको विषयमा मलाई थाहा छ त्यो मेरो इन्ट्रेस्ट छ सबै म इतिहासको विषयमा वा गोराहरू तर गोराहरू काम गर्यो भने त्यो पैसा धेरै चाहन्छ अनि पैसा हराउँछ त्यसकारण मेरो विशाल हिस्टोरियन हुनुपर्छ अनि मेरो नोकरी गोर्खालीहरूसँग थियो त्यसकारण म तिनीहरूसँग त्यो लेख्नु पर्यो अनि मेरो विचार थियो त्यो गोर्खालीहरू फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वार विशेष गरी फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वारमा धेरै लेखेको थिएन रेजिमेन्टल हिस्ट्री यस थियो ओफिसियल हिस्ट्री थियो तर पब्लिकको लागि केही पनि थिएन त्यसकारण मैले पहिलो किताब थियो Sepoys and the Trenches बनेको and that was Gurkhali and any Indian First World War फ्रान्समा वेस्टर्न फ्रन्टमा 6 गोर्खा बटालियन 6 पल्टन वेस्टर्न फ्रन्टमा थियो त्यो जर्मनको विरुद्धमा के पनि लेखिएन त्यसको विषयमा हाम्रो पहिलोको गोर्खाली VC त्यहाँ थियो ब्याटल अफ लुस 1915 गिलिपलीमा पनि गोर्खालीहरू थियो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वारमा अनि गिलिपलीमा त्यो ठुल्ठुलो डाँडा थियो त्यो डाँडालाई कब्जा गर्न सक्छ भने देन पुरा इलाका डोमिनेट गर्न सक्छ त्यो डाँडा पुग्यो भने यु वन जित्यो कोही सक्छ छैन गोराहरूले कोसिस गर्ने पाएन अस्ट्रेलिया ट्राई गर्यो पाएन कोही पनि पाएन गोर्खाले पल्टनलाई पुग्यो माथिमा पुग्यो सबै ब्रिटिस अफिसरहरू चाहिँ मर्यो कि घायल भयो गोर्खा मेजर साहबले सुबेदार मेजरलाई कमान्ड गरेको ही वाज ए म्यान कल्ड गम्बर सिंह पुन मागदी पुन त्यहाँ पुगेर तिनीहरू चाहिँ टकलाई मारेको डानरमा कब्जा गरेको त्यहाँदेखि जो प्लान थियो एउटा ब्रिगेड गोरा ब्रिगेड आउनु पर्यो तिनीहरूलाई रिइन्फोर्स दिने गोरा ब्रिगेडले बाटो हरायो आएन सो यो गोर्खाली पल्टन मात्रै दानामा थियो के गर्ने अनि त्यो टोकीको टोपकाना हन्डा 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 मान्छे मर्यो अनि पहिला टेलिफोनमा आयो गोर्खा मेजर साहबलाई सुब्बा मेजर साहबलाई लो विथड्र हुन्न हामी बस्छौँ भनेको फेरि हन्डा 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 and eventually धेरै घायल भयो धेरै मान्छेले मारेकोले withdraw गरेको and that was probably the only chance of winning the Gallipoli battle. So मैले त्यही कुरा पनि लेखेँ. Second World War ma pani, of course. There were something like T-Sota Gokhale Palton, Second World War ma. Burma, North Africa, Italy, Derithil. Koi Burapatile Malay complained by her. Sab, kina nobody me hame goya. And Malay Panako. Because Gokhale Tiena nobody janalite. You were in Burma, Italy. Nobody to go to Normandy. Of course, Tan Deakin, Harik Laren, Hamro Gokhale have been involved. But Teskarane mo Kitabaruta Leke, because Merabi Sharma to public light Tatian. I mean, public light Tatsa, Gokhale ko bravery, Gokhale ko VC Derichan, but detail.
China. And thank you very much for sharing that.
So that was my
story.
aim. That is
your
second Gurkhas.
University Press ko रहेछ उ चाहिँ फोटो हैन सर
जो picture जो second Gurkha जो rehearsal ho जो paka Lorraine Hoyle तर Lorraine जानु बन्दा गरे यो
training गरेको
yeah training गरेको in France in Bois de Biez भन्ने ठाउँ Neuve-Chapelle को नजिक Neuve-Chapelle हाम्रो First World War को ठुलो battle on our हो गोर्खालीहरू first time as or up to then 1914 1915 हामी त्यो German को line break गर्न सकिएन first time was at Neuve-Chapelle Gokhale le गरेको and helped by the Indians Garwali पनि त्यहाँ थियो so that was my aim
तपाई गोर्खालीहरुसँग around 30 years serve गर्नुभयो के कुराले तपाईलाई गोर्खाली पल्टनमा सर्भ गर्न मन लाग्यो एउटा अर्को चाहिँ गोर्खालीहरु why गोर्खाली अनि उनीहरुको के कुराले तपाईलाई प्रभावित पार्यो
मैले एउटा किताब पढेँ it was called Bugles and the Tiger and it was by a man called he's written a lot of books Masters John Masters wrote a book tinta kitab like ule usko life and he ule Santos Magoyo 1932 ba unais batis County Cell commissioned by and the fourth Gorkha Magoyo India and I thought reading your good to have part of carry and all bunches your Gokhale sense of humor Gopishema Gokhale Kaida Kostota British Annie Gokhale Kamila Postota how does it work and I thought Merabisha here Meralagi this is for me I want this Santos Mabako Brigade Rep Malebanico Gorapal Madanu and a Yadi permanent kada Kolsabani transfer gone so un satri cells 1969 more transfer gone 60 armor then Tiandik and Charnab Saltaman Hatsa RGR Banao 2 6 7 10 Jamagorico RGR Banone Merocam was formation officer oh God the Alamala Teoteri Duka put about Naru Jamagonde Sabanda Mushkil Kura I mean Goka Paisa Kanjani Gakameja Koho Seo Koho Sasirata the problem dress poshak was a big problem Kina Bani Harik Palton go dress Jamagori Bani Christmas tree just had to get to so I had to say yes Tio Kura answer Arjama Yo Kura Jari China Ondena and Merabi Shara Tio Hamra Itias Ma Jarari Tio Bani Lina Porio Naya Paltonba Arjama Jari Tiena Bani sorry can't have it BO Haralai mo briefing ding, Geo Sabru lai briefing ding, Sergeant's mess briefing ding, Corporal's lai briefing ding, and Tiniar Koshitia. No problem. I explain. Maile batain, este jarita, and we are doing, this is because we are doing Kusi. Tara, the BO Burapati, Josle, Chalis Pachas, Pasa Agi Pinchin Gain, Derek arrive. But Maile Pai. So RGR has got.
Wow.
Lale.
अनि सबलाई के कुराले इम्प्रेस पार्यो गोर्खालीको तपाईले के सम्झिनुहुन्छ गोर्खालीको बेस्ट के हो
That's mushkil. That's a very difficult question. Kinamani, Tiniarko qualities derisa. They are Gurkhas are in mero experience ma, imandare. They are absolutely sida. They are loyal, Rajbhakta, Koithak China. They are very good friends. Once they get to know you, they are very good friends. But you have to make sure you never let them down. If you say you're going to do something, you must do it, or you must try your best to do it, because Gokhale themselves are honest, they're straightforward people, they're not complicated, they're straightforward, and they expect us to be straightforward as well.
तपाईले चाहिँ जहिले पनि कुरा गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो हाम्रो भनेर भन्नुहुन्छ तपाई आफू पनि गोर्खाली हुँ भन्ने तपाईलाई भित्रदेखि लाग्छ but and also you have done so much for गोर्खालीहरुको लागि हिस्ट्री लेखिदिनु भनेको साधारण कुरा हैन खोजी तपाईले ब्याटलफिल्डमा जानुभयो टुर गर्नुभयो सो एज उनीहरुको घरमा नेपालमा जानुभयो उनीहरुको बस्तीमा त्यो सबै खोजी गरेर तपाईले गोर्खालीहरुको इतिहास लेखिदिनु भयो एन्ड फर दैट अहिले म पर्सनली गोर्खालीहरुको तर्फबाट नेपालीहरुको तर्फबाट तपाईलाई म थ्यांक यू भन्न चाहन्छु साहब एन्ड
म तपाईलाई थ्यांक यू भन्न पर्यो यदि म राम्रो मान्छे हो भने तपाईहरुलाई मलाई त्यसै बनायो You made me. And I mean, yes, I say hamro, because I mean, hami sabai Gokhale, ani British also late, hami yora parewa just stay. We are all the same. All right, we are, of course, hamro basa farakta, hamro culture farakta, hamro religion farakta, but tara, hami yora parewa.
तर तपाईलाई एउटा क्वेशन सोध्दै यहीँनिर मलाई याद आयो गोर्खाली पल्टनमा बस्दा तपाई अझै सम्झिनुहुन्छ कि सबैभन्दा हाम्रो टिपिकल नाचगाना हुन्छ त नाचगानामा उठ्यो बस्यो एउटा पार्ट हुन्छ उठ्यो बस्यो हैन सर तर तपाई उठ्यो बस्यो गर्न सक्नुहुन्थ्यो तपाईको हाइट त एकदमै अग्लो छ घुँडा खुट्टा धेरै लामो छ
That is quite you're quite right. Second war Bandagare yad more Gokhale Palton Partigan Sagdaina Kinaman height limit British officer Kalagi Kinamani Sniper lay, Subbanda Algo Koho Ubio, who officer Holla, dunk. That was the reason. Laren Sakera, then that rule went. But if I was much older, Second World War, Banda Agare, Gokhale Majan Sakera.
So तपाईं सुरुमा platoon commander भएर आउनु भयो हैन सर?
No, Tetikera, all sub platoon commanders Geo Sabaru Teo.
Oh.
So Aunu Banda Agare, you were a company officer.
I see.
You could not command language course pass Nabai Sama. Command Pondani. Couldn't command.
I never knew that.
Couldn't command. So you had to learn the language. Once you learned the language, you were then allowed to wear a kukri and you could command something. And I was very lucky later in that, and then you were a company officer, then you were a company commander.
Oh.
Without being a platoon commander. So you were a company commander very young. But your second in command was a Gurkha officer with 20, 25 years service. So he kept you in line. He advised you. And the combination of the young British officer and the very experienced Gurkha officer, that is one of the reasons why Amro battalions are so good, because there is that connection. And I'm more lucky to I see for Char Borsa. I was commanding B company, I think then. Was Jaibara Saab, Jaibara Gurung, who was a Gandruki from Gandruk. Now, Tetikera Gandruk was Eilid, Batajansa Gandruk, my Biratanti Dikin Gandruk, my Tetikera Tiena. Gandruk was the last village before Annapurna. And he was a Gandruki. Very strong Gurung accent. and spoke very, very quickly. So मेरो लागि राम्रो थियो, ठुलो फाइदा थियो, because I really had to listen. So I learned a lot from Joy Bhattacharya.
त अब साहब तपाईको बुकको बारेमा कुरा गरौँ हैन तपाईले यति धेरै बुकहरू लेख्नु भएको छ त्यसमा तपाईले सबैभन्दा अगाडि लेखेको बुक कुन हो साहब र कहिले लेख्नु भयो
Sepoys in the Trenches मेरो सबभन्दा पहिलो किताब थियो मैले सान्तनाबेमा लेखेँ इभिनिङ्समा लेख्दाखेरि and then weekendमा म रिसर्च गरेँ
तपाई ओसी जीटीडब्ल्यू गर्दा ट्रेनिङ विङ हुनुहुन्थ्यो त्यति बेला जुन बेला म भर्ती भएको थिएँ
That was what I thought.
What a coincidence.
Kinabani, there was nothing, you see, about the Indian Army on the Western Front. There was nothing.
No.
So that's why I wrote that. And that was metaphor. That was my first.
Okay. Ani तपाईले त्यसपछि blood, sweat and arrogance यो बारेमा मलाई एउटा छोटो कुरा अलिकति मैले पायो मैले उहरुमा कि यो अलिकति तपाईलाई यसमा आलोचना यानी कि क्रिटिसाइज पनि गरिएको छ यो बुकको बारेमा What do you want to say about that sir?
The criticism was by the keeper of the Churchill archives. And because I criticized Churchill, he didn't like it. That's the criticism he made. Actually, the other book that's not there was the one that became a bestseller was Mud, Blood and Poppycock. Britain and the First World War.
What a title! What a title! Mud, Blood, and
Poppycock.
Wow.
But there was a little problem with that because the Americans said, Poppycock banni you Sogdena. I said, Kina. Hammerama, Poppycock means nonsense. Larakura, nonsense. What do you think it means? And they said, oh no, this comes from the Dutch. Papen, cock, papal shit.
Because poppy पनि त्यहाँबाट origin को poppy को जुन कुरा गर्छौं poppy flower को origin खासमा त्यताबाट भएको थियो हैन सर यो पनि हो नि
Oh, the poppycock fool is different.
Poppycock fool को was it?
Yeah, it's a different thing altogether. No, poppycock means Angrejima, poppycock means nonsense.
Nonsense. तर Dutch language मा चाहिँ त्यो
Well, that's what they said.
I see.
And I queried this with a friend of mine in America, and I said, what does poppycock mean? He said, it means the same as it means to you, nonsense. And I thought, this is what they've said. He said, pay no attention.
Interesting title.
Take that.
दुईटैमा.
That became
Blood, Sweat, हजुर.
Mud, Blood and Poppycock became a bestseller, to my surprise.
Oh, yes.
I still get every 6 months, I get a check.
Wow. Oh, Blood, Sweat and Arrogance. यता चाहिँ तपाईको फेरि त्यो जुन लास्ट वर्डले एकदम इन्ट्रेस्टिङ बनाएको छ बुकलाई हैन सर and it's all about that as well.
Yeah.
So brilliant. अनि तपाईले यो lose हैन 1915 यो चाहिँ unwanted battle भन्नु भएको छ why छोटो भन्नुस् न
किनभने त्यो ब्रिटिसले टरेनमा हेर्दाखेरि यो राम्रो छैन हाम्रो गर्नलाई राम्रो छैन त्यो ग्राउन्ड हाम्रो लागि फाइदा दिन्न तर फ्रेन्चले हाम्रो दाहिनेमा ठुलो हाम्रो ब्रिटिस आर्मी भन्दा फ्रेन्च आर्मी ठुलो थियो त्यतिखेर and the French said no, this is a combined attack, you must attack. So the British gone on mañana, but they had to do it.
I see.
Politics kokora.
I see. So अर्को छ तपाईको वेलिङटन र वाटरलू pretty much एकदम पुरानो कहानी हो पुरानो हिस्ट्री हो कहानी भन्नु पर्दा wow yes हाम्रो यो कुराकानी कन्टिन्यू भइ नै रहन्छ कति रमाइलो लागिरहेछ दर्शकवृन्द please let's take a break don't go away stay tuned
New Lakshmi Jewelers, a source of elegance and beauty, sponsors New Horizon. Second fashion, remember. उत्कृष्ट र भरपर्दो गहनाको लागि अवश्य सम्झनुहोस् न्यू लक्ष्मी ज्वेलर्स epitome of beauty.
वेलकम ब्याक यहाँहरूलाई फेरि पनि कार्यक्रममा स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु सर यो पिक्चर इट्स अमेजिङ पिक्चर यु हेभ गट अ गर्खा हाम्रो मेरो विचारमा तपाईको ट्वाइसी हुनुपर्छ क्याप्टेन हो मेरो र्याङ्क मैले अलिअलि त्यहाँ देख्छु अनि अगाडि हुनुहुन्छ क्वीन क्वीन एलिजाबेथ अनि यो पिक्चरको बारेमा भन्नुस् न.
That was Unais Atatar. To Hamro Maharani Hamila Hamid Tatikara UK Babasti Gorkha Battalion Tio, Judge Rugumba, and Maharani Ayo, Hami visit Gonalai. So Bainima Bayama to Meratuashi, Kaktuashi, your Jaibada Gurung Sob, your Gandruki.
When was this?
Very good man. 1978.
78.
And then Mero Pachari, you can just see the Gorkha Major
Yes.
Toybada Chand.
Oh.
Who comes from Pelkachar, Sanja Dekanani North Goivani, Pelkachar Kokon. And the Maharani, and it was Pani Ayo. I mean, some Bijikotel. The Maharani didn't mind. And we were looking at my company going over the assault course. And one very young rifleman leapt over a bell and slipped. Hilole. Got up and said, sorry, to Maharani and went on. And she thought it was very funny. She was very good. She's very easy, actually. She can talk to anybody.
She is. साहब यो फोटो मैले किन राखेको यहाँ भन्दा मैले तपाईले वेबिनार दिँदै गर्दाखेरि को यो पिक्चर हो मलाई एकदमै मन पर्यो यसकारण कि this really actually links to Gurkhas यहाँनिर एउटा कुरा छ यो पिक्चरमा त्यो हो खुकुरी तपाईले तपाईको बुक शेल्फमा खुकुरी राखिरहनु भएको छ
मेरो कार्यालय छ त्यहाँ Garma and I have a great many Kotamari kukuris. I think I have probably 15, I should think.
I know.
Over the years, people have
walls
given them to me.
rack everywhere.
That one was given me by two warrant officers, QGLR and Gorkha engineers, when I was in Nepal in 2018, I think, 2018. And then 2019 was my last time Nepal, and then Tiandekan, of course, COVID Kokoranle, B-Sekai Spice Janasakyana. I think now Janasaksala, Janaponsala.
So everything's settled now. Ani, अब यसमा तपाईको त्यो वेबिनारहरु मैले हेरे and it was so extensively like so many countries बाट उहाँहरु आउनु भएको थियो तपाईको लेक्चर सुन्नुको लागि and त्यो वेबिनारमा so surprisingly भनौं कि के भनौं कि there were people तपाईको ऑडियन्समा यति धेरै पिपलहरु थियो क्वेशनहरु उनीहरुले पर्टिकुलरली गर्खालीको जुन इन्भल्भमेन्ट फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड सेकेन्ड वर्ल्ड वरमा को क्वेशनहरु पनि सोधेको थियो and I was like wow तर म यहाँ कुरा के ल्याउन चाहे भन्दा गोर्खा वर्ड कहाँबाट आयो म यो कुरा भन्न चाहिन कि हजुरको यस अफ कोर्स गोर्खाली भनेको पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले जब नेपाल एकीकरण गर्यो त्यो गोर्खालीहरु ब्रिटिशसँग फाइट गर्दाखेरि यस्तो भयो everybody knows most of the people I'd say rather than everybody most of the people know about it but then I would like to talk about particularly Gurkha word कहाँबाट आयो अनि यसको लिंक धेरै अगाडि चाहिँ तपाईले चर्चा गर्नु भएको छ कहीं कि यसको लिंक तपाईको इभन तपाईको 12th century 13th century तिरको कुरामा बुक्सहरुमा पनि पाइएको देखियो whereas one being this तपाईको यसमा तपाईको खोज तपाईको फाइन्डिंग्स के छ सर
Well, first of all, the secret history of the Mongols, Maripani, Meramata, there is shock tar. Koi Lebansa, yo pakaho, definitely true. Others say no, medieval forgery. It's not. It's something that Chinese propaganda. We don't know. Pakahoki, I think it's parts of it, Koisak China are Paka, I think. But we simply don't know. But never mind. Koisak China, there was really probably 2000 BC. So we're talking 400 years ago.
Even
long
2000
time ago,
BC.
Long time ago. From Mongolia, now Iliko Mongolia and East Siberia, population shift. Madlap, Derimanchi, Aimak, Ketaharutu, Goyo. Tiambara. Kina Goyo, we don't know. Overpopulation Hunasoksa, ki koi kalko bimar teo, ki bepar teo, ki garib teo, ki laren teo, we don't know. Koi North Patima Goyo bane. into America, and they became Eskimo, Red Indian, Mayan, Aztec, Olpec, Inca, Ityadi.
Wow.
And Tamil Tansa Belize Magako, your Mayan Liberia Banit, have just Dickens any.
Oh, Mayans बारेमा documentaries and movies पनि Netflix मा आज देखिन्छ. So is the Red Indians.
They are Mongolian. But Paka Mongolian Red Indians are not very many because they interbred. So Red Indians married Goras, Gorini, or whatever. So
Red-haired Mongolians?
Red
hair Mongolians.
yes. Well, red hair is a recessive gene. Now, mudlap, it's usually malnutrition.
I see.
So you get the odd Gurkha in Nepal with red hair. That's probably malnutrition. Probably. It's not hereditary. No. I mean, if I had red hair and he met a family called red hair, Meranani Haro, not necessarily red hair. So it's not the same. So they went north. Some went south, and Tibet Ma'ayo, Bosio. Alipachi, I think probably about 1200 BC, Gokhale Hawa, Fere Mongolians Ayo, they couldn't go settle in Tibet, Kinabari Manchitan Tio, so they went on through the Himalayas. India ma Basnu Shakyana, because India ma Manchitio, so Nepal ma Basio. Parma, Parko Tapama. And Koike Manchiliban said, Parko Tapa defense kolagi Haina. Why did they live on the hills? Kinabani, Tolomagoyabani, Taraimagoyabani, Aurijal, malaria.
Oh.
Matagoyabani, you lamkutale uti mate pugnasak. So that's why they live on hills. I mean, Divine Latasa, Kosri defense kolagi Ramatana, Kinabani, Pani China. I mean, Divine Latasa, Bihanama, Bini Party, Utara, Tin Ganta. Pani Leone. So it's not good. That's why they live on hills. And then, your second question, where did the word Gurkha come from? When they first settled, Koikui Tian Basiko, and they said, we are Magars, some else. We are Tamu, we are Guru, we are Rai, we are Limbu, or whatever. And Harik Ilaka, Afno Raj Jistatio, Shanodesh. So, Nepal was not Nepal. It was a whole lot of little states. And in Gorkha, which is a little state in the west, Prithvi Narayan Sai came to the throne in 1740, I think. Prithvi Narayan Sai co-family pilot ko Rajputio. Now, when the Mughals, Afghanistan, Bata, India invasion Goriko, Rajput lai Larnagoya, Derry Rajput Lebantia. No, we don't want to say Hami Yam Bastena, Hami Yin Bastia, but Hami Muslim Hunapotsa. We don't want to be Muslim. And Nepal Mabagio Tiniarli. Now, of course, Nepal Maondakeri, they had technology, modern weapons, Hatyar, Paisa, Sun, Ijadi, and Koikoi became the kings, the chiefs. They brought the Nepali language. Now, Nepali and Hindi, really, if you go way back, Nepali is 13th century Hindi. It's of course diverged, but it's essentially, I mean, if you speak Nepali, you can survive in Hindi, in Urdu, in Dari, in Pushtu. They're all from the same root originally, and they've gone off. But if you speak one fluently, then you can get by on the others. I mean, I don't speak, I'm more Urdu Bandana, but Pakistan Hundakere, I could understand. I mean, I don't speak Urdu, but I think, yes, I know what they're talking about. So, from the same root. Prithvi Narayan Sai had an idea. He thought, Sabayo Chano Desharu, they talk about Chaubis Raja. I think Merabishama, there were more
20
than
to 24, Baisi Chaubis Raja.
Yeah. I think there were a lot more than Chaubis Raja.
A lot more.
I think there were probably something like Charlis Raja.
Yes.
And Gokha ko Raja, Prithvi Narayan Sai, thought, Pura Chano Desharu, Pura Jamagorni, Yota Desh Banauni, Yota Nation Banauni. That was a good plan too. And that is what he started to do. Now, of course, Usko Manchiaru Gokhali, kingdom was Gorkha, king of Gorkha. Koike Manchili Bansa Kambara, possibly from Gai Kot.
That's right.
But there may have been
Gai
Kot.
Yes.
Possibly. That's one of the thoughts.
Hazur.
So Usko Manchiaru Gokhali too. So he conquered or persuaded these Arodesharu, Jamagoriko. And what he said when he went into, or his army went into another Raja, he said, Veganagar, Timur Kanan Badle, Hundaina, everything is Palakajiste, Tara, Espale, Timur Talab, tax, Maladinapurio. Afna Raja Lai Nadine. Now, Timur Afna Raja, Aili Mero subordinate, Mero 2IC, 3IC, whatever. And that is what he started to do. So as time went on, everybody began to be called Gokhale.
But yes, sorry, I interrupted you this on this one. I'm on about के यो जुन गोर्खाली शब्द चाहिँ मैले के लिङ्क गर्नु खोजेँ भन्दा let's not talk about, I mean, Prithvinarayan, yes, of course, I know, but मेरो कुरा के हो भने त्यो word जुन छ नि wasn't Prithvinarayan शाहको, it was Mongolian timeसँग लिङ्क भएको देखियो नि. So word के मैले अलिकति स्टडी गरेँ, I'm not साब तपाईँ हिस्टोरियन हो, तर word, when we talk about Mongoliansहरू then came south and then त्यहाँ पुग्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो कुरामा पुग्दा लिङ्क गर्दाखेरि so most of the Gurkhali British Army मा जोइन हुनेहरू I mean majority नै भन्नु पर्यो कि हिल्स बोयहरूलाई भर्ती गरिन्छ अनि तिनीहरू known as furious fighters and उनीहरू किराँतीहरू Kirat word links to the Mongols. Now Kirat Bangsa was the first settlement in Nepal. त्यो साबले अलिकति भन्नुभयो. So as the Nepalको हिस्ट्रीमा पनि त्यही छ. But then गोर्खा अब यहाँनिर के लेखेको छ भने साहब खान भनेको राजा गोर भनेको चाहिँ तपाईको रक्षक हैन साहब अनि त्यो जुन यो वर्डको जुन अर्थ छ गोर्खा त्योसँग लिंक छ साहब भन्न खोजेको मैले.
No, I think the link comes from the place.
Gorkha place.
Gorkha. No, Ailipani.
Yes, still there.
I think that's what it comes from, Gorkha. I don't think there's a direct link.
I see.
And I think that as unification went on, then Baila Josle Gorkha Mabasiko Gorkhali Tio, but as time went on, everybody was referred to as Gorkhali, although they were not from Gorkha.
Okay.
They were Gorkhali.
The Gurkha soldiers then that time as well.
So now, how do you define a Gorkha now? He is defined as members of the martial tribes of Nepal. That's the dictionary definition now.
I see.
And really it means a Lowry. You know, I mean, Indian Lowry, British Lowry.
Lahore ma bharti huन्थ्यो.
Yes, exactly.
त्यसले गर्दा लाहुरे.
You know, British Aunu Banda Gare, young Gorkhas would go to Lahore to enlist in the Sikh armies of Ranjit Singh.
Walking months.
Yeah, to get to Lahore.
From Nepal.
And therefore, they were called Lowries. Now, Azabali, if you ask a Nepali, what is the Nepali for soldier? He would say Lowry. And you would say, Kina Lowry, he probably doesn't know.
Yeah,
but he comes from Lahore, you're quite right. In the Punjab, which was the Sikh kingdom of Prithvinarayan. And then, of course, along came the British. So they didn't have to go quite so far. And as you know, Tamanatata, we were originally enemies. The Anglo-Nepal War. And at the end of that war, which really was a draw, actually, really, the British thought, actually, these chaps would be much better as our friends than our enemies. And the Gurkhas thought the same thing.
Yes.
So it was mutually beneficial. Because Aile expand gona Sagdaina Bani, Hamro young Ketaharu Rakan Jansa Ke got British Army. And to the British, of course, this was marvelous because they got what have turned out to be the cream of the British Army now.
Hazur. And also, the reason alikati मैले touch गर्न चाहे हिस्ट्रीमा यो गोर्खालीहरूको जुन involvement and why they were suitable to employ them as a British soldiers.
I think the reason that Gurkhas were so attractive to the British was that Gurkhas are flexible. You can put a Gurkha anywhere and he will adapt.
Wow.
You cannot do that. I mean, for example, if you take a Hindu battalions in the Indian Army, there's a problem with leather. This is why there are hardly any, even today, Indian Army, there are very few Brahmin battalions. During the First World War, I think there was one all-Brahmin battalion, and there was a problem with it. I mean, they were good soldiers, Ramati Bhaiteo, Tara, Kano Banda Gari But Nikalna Podio, Pedi Nikalna Podio, they could only eat something cooked by another Hindu.
Yeah.
You cannot run an army like that.
Gorkhali eats anything.
Well, as long as you try. Now, as long as you try. I remember once saying to my company, we were in the jungle, and in British units, British Kokana Matrapar, 24-hour pack, and I said to my two, I say, Saab, Maf Dinas, there's beef in this. And he said, Saab, Lorraine Magoya Bane, this is exercise hunter, he said, Lorraine Magoya Bane, what is there? Jati ta hami kansam. This is exercise Lorraine could just say, hami kansam.
Wow.
So they will eat. The important thing is for the British officer to try to make sure that they get the right food. Now, sakdaina bane, try gore bane but sakdaina, so there's only beef, they will accept it.
Brilliant.
So he's flexible. He's a linguist. Now, when you think that Gokhale Hobane, he speaks his own kura, Maga kura, Rai kura, one of the many Rai kuras, Katijana Rai kura, Limbu kura, whatever, plus Nepali. Indian ko Simana Kojik, he's near the Indian border, probably Hindi Pani Bonsa.
Yes.
So he is a natural linguist.
Natural linguist.
Comes to England, pick it up.
Adaptability धेरै छ हैन सर?
Adapted. Afghanistan.
They're proven.
I was talking to an American officer of Afghanistan, and he said to me, he didn't know I was a Gurkha. He said, your best troops are these Gurkhas. And I said, I didn't tell him I was one. And I said, why do you say that? He said, they're physically fit. They learn the language. They can all speak Pushtu and Dari very quickly. He said, they're great. They're terrific. And then Pachi Pachi, I met a general, 3-star general, lieutenant general, who said, who told me that in Afghanistan, senior officer party, the general party lay, Gokhale, they wanted a Gurkha interpreter because you couldn't trust the Afghan. The Afghan is tik tik kura de bandaina. The Afghan will think, okay, I'll tell you what I want to tell you. Whereas, of course, the Gurkha will translate exactly what's said. So they would get hold of they'd say to RGR, Malay, landskapel dienst, interpreter Gotland. Because then they knew they were getting the Paka stuff. So they are very adaptable. I mean, you said put a Gurkha anywhere and he'll think, right, yeah, okay, I can do this, I can do that. I'm not going to do that. He'll adapt.
Yes, sir.
Not every nation, not every people can do that.
So, and combination, British and Gurkhas ko यो जुन combination छ, यति लामो history भयो, अनि it is intact because we are compatible.
Exactly.
यो time and time again prove भएको छ.
Yeah.
अनि गोर्खालीहरू चाहिँ चाहे हिल्समा होस्, चाहे हिमालमा होस्, चाहे डेजर्टमा होस्, उनीहरूले प्रुभ गर्यो कि they are adaptable in any kind of weather, any kind of situation. त भनेको छ एउटा सम्झना आयो मलाई कि सर राल्फ टर्नर एमसी को कुरा सब है कि bravest of the brave, most generous of the generous, never had a country more faithful friends than you. अब यो कुराले त्यतिकै प्रुभ गरिदिएछ किनकि त्यो देखेर भन्नुभयो नि उहाँले हैन सर.
New Lakshmi Jewelers, a source of elegance and beauty, sponsors New Horizon.